Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Get Sweaty, the pre-Christmas edition. I am Matt Majot. As always, I'm joined by Ben Rayner, Sol Goyven, and 50 Shades of Geek. How are you all doing this lovely Sunday? Or Monday,
That
I guess,
was
for
the
you,
weirdest
50.
way someone has ever said my last name. I've never heard that.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
Govin.
And I
What's
said
funny,
Goyven, didn't I?
Yeah, I get Govin all the time.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard someone say Goyven. What I always tell people to say is say go win. Now say it in a Russian accent. Go win.
Oh, that's actually... Oh, I get the same thing. I get the same thing because how my name is spelled. It's Mageau, but it's pronounced the G's pronounced with a J, because in French language the pronunciation of those two are flipped around. And according to my dad, during a census in the early 20th, a French-speaking relative was spelling the name, but he said it M-A-G, which again in French is J, and that's how my name got spelt that way. So I get Mago or Magoo all the time. So my thing is either you could pretty much think of Joe DiMaggio without the D.
The first time I heard you pronounce your name on the show was like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
How come I didn't think of that? Fun fact, I literally had to change my name legally so people can pronounce it in English the proper way it's meant to be pronounced. Because
Which one? Your first name?
What?
Your first or your last name?
Your last name. My last name, the way it's supposed to be spelled, is not at all what it's supposed to be pronounced. So I actually changed it on my ID card so people can actually pronounce it easier.
Oh wow!
And that's the name that I use on the Facebook group.
Yeah, what I started doing is like in all the chats and stuff, I switched it to the original spelling so that way people would actually pronounce it right. Yeah, so in Discord I'm Mageau.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, as usual, we are here today gathered to do our top 5 list. Whoever gives a topic at the end of the episode, we come back the following week with our list. I had the pleasure of doing last week's one, and I honestly didn't think it would be as hard as it was for some people. So the inspiration behind this, I was watching The Karate Kid last week, and the song Moment of Truth came on, and I realized this is a great song that nobody ever talks about. So that's where the inspiration for the list came up. Top 5 underrated original movie soundtrack songs. So songs that nobody talks about, because we all know I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, My Heart Will Go On, Power Love, Pretty in Pink, right? Don't You Forget About Me. We all know those, but what are some that nobody talks about? So that's where the idea for the list came from.
Good.
Okay, so as usual, we're going to do the whole punt system. Honorable mentions are going to come right before we do our number 1 pick.
Okay.
And I'm going to kick it off then. So my number 5 is The Moment of Truth from The Karate Kid. I think this is the better of the... like, everyone usually, when you say Karate Kid, they usually start singing You're the Best. I think this song is way better. Done by Survivor, who did Eye of the Tiger. It's definitely more... gets your blood pumping, makes you feel like you can do anything, and actually, the orchestration for this song is actually weaved throughout the movie too.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Realize that.
Yep.
Now I need to go back. So I've been tasked to watch all of season 1 and season 2 of Cobra Kai for this week to get ready for season 3 in January.
Oh, it's
So
so
I
good.
thought I want to watch the movies again because I've seen all the movies.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, yep, going in.
Yep. It's similar with me, except I'm a fan of the Kind of Funny guys, and they just did the Karate Kid in review, and when they come back from Christmas, they're going to do Cobra Kai. So that's why I watched the first 2 again.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my number 5, The Moment of Truth from The Karate Kid by Survivor.
What were your honorable mentions, if you had any?
I do, but we started listing them right before we do our number 1 now, so that way if they're on the list, we can actually talk about them.
The Watch Mojo way.
Yeah, the Watch Mojo way, yeah.
See, I haven't been on for a while, so now I know.
That's right, yeah.
Now you know.
You knew.
We have a problem. must have missed the part when you said that it has to be original songs.
Well, no, if it's not, it's fine. Like I was saying to Ben, since it sounded like a lot of people had issues with this list, I'll let most anything slide.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I just found out my number one wasn't an original song for the movie.
That's fine. Okay, so 50. What is your number 5?
Okay, so my number 5 is probably going to be. By the way, because I had such a huge problem with this, I ended up pretty much getting only animated movies. Because you know me, I like the Disney movies and I like the Disney musicals. Now, not all of them are not all of them are Disney movies, but all of them are animated. And also during this whole process, I had to consult with my good friend, Watch Mojo. I literally looked up the most underrated songs for movies. Now, my approach to this wasn't songs that you don't hear talk about. I was approaching it from more of a direction of songs within a movie that are overshadowed by other songs in that very movie.
Yeah, that's more or less in the same vein. I totally agree because that's pretty much what all mine are, except for my number 1. All mine are like that from movies where there's songs that are talked about more. Yeah, that works.
Okay, so my number 5 is probably going to be the most controversial song on any of our lists, and it's the song "Savages" from Pocahontas.
Oh, good song.
Okay.
Would never have thought about that.
Yeah, it's considered to be one of the most ballsiest songs Disney's ever produced. It's right up there with Hellfire. And obviously it's overshadowed by Just Around the River Band and Paint with All the Colors of the Wind.
Yeah.
But the reason I effing love that song. Why am I using... I fucking love that song. But see, the thing is, I like it because it symbolizes the human spirit in that era. And this sort of evil and distrust that resides within both sides of the conflict, both the Native Americans and the British. That both sides believes that the other side is evil and savage and inhuman. When in actuality, they just need, the whole point of the movie actually is if they put aside their differences and realize they're pretty much basically both the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, who's the savage in this point, right?
And it's also part of the song that Pocahontas sings to
to
John.
the one I was thinking that
It's nobody. And you've been so many places. I guess it must be true. So it's the song of the point emphasized in the opening lines of that song, stretched out into one giant song. And first of all, the performance itself within the actual movie, I think the imagery is really it gets you right in the field because it's such a powerful imagery of seeing these humans trying to hunt each other down.
Yeah, all the songs in that movie are very good when it comes to the human spirit, right?
Yeah, it was a very human spirit themed movie.
So here's an interesting tidbit about that movie that I learned from watching the documentary Waking Sleeping Beauty. So the Pocahontas and Lion King were in production at the same time.
I was about to mention that.
Pocahontas had all the A-list animators working on it because they didn't think that a story about a lion cub would do any good. So all of the B animators worked on Lion King.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the B animators actually worked from like 3 different countries at the same time.
Yeah.
One group worked on this part of the movie, another worked on that part of the movie. Those were in London, those were in New York. It was all over the place. Disney pulled all of the resources into Pocahontas at the time and very little into Lion King. And, well, guess who is the more memorable one?
Excuse me, that is really interesting. That reminds me of something else. Because Toy Story 2 was originally going to be a straight-to-home movie.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they saw it and they said, "This is too good to be straight to video." You gotta.
And that is a great segue into my number 5.
Ooh, all right.
So my number 5 is When She Loved Me in
Oh,
Toy Story 2. You can all start crying now.
that tears your heart.
So Sarah McLachlan singing that, and when someone mentioned it, because I had some people help me with this list because it was very hard, and they mentioned that, and I was like, oh yeah, that has to go on because it anytime you listen to it, it's so sad because Jesse's there going, I used to have someone who loved me and played with me and like I was their toy, and now I no longer have that person anymore. And so it really tugs at your heartstring. And yeah, so perfect segue into Toy Story 2 here.
Yeah, out of the 4 movies, easily Toy Story 2 is the least talked about.
Mm-hmm.
That is my favorite, by the way.
Yes,
Toy Story 2.
Yeah. Sorry,
I
was that
think
50?
4 we talked about even less.
True. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. But it's also still pretty recent.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I don't have it on my list because I think it's the second most talked about song out of the Toy Story franchise. It's second only to "You've Got a Friend in Me," and no one's topping "You've Got a Friend in Me."
Yeah.
So I personally don't consider it underrated, but I mean, if you feel that way, then
I think it's because Toy Story 2 is not talked about that much.
Yeah.
And I think that there's other songs from like the whole franchise that people go to first before they go to this one. It's probably too because it's sad song. So that's why I chose it as my number 5.
For some reason, Toy Story 2 was one that skipped me until I was in my 20s. The first time I saw it, well, I went to visit my aunt and uncle, and their kids were watching it who were really young at the time. So I would have been like mid-20s when I saw it for the first time. I had no idea it existed.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
Did you go from 1 to 3, or you?
They watched Toy Story 2 all the time. Like, I mean, this was before Toy Story 3 was announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had no idea.
The thing is, I think maybe the reason why it's less talked about is because obviously the first one is the iconic. It's the one that launched
Yeah.
Pixar. It was the first theatrically full feature by Pixar. It's the one that the first fully CGI animated movie. The third one, third animated movie in history, nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
First animated movie to make $1 billion at the box office.
And it is the best made one of the whole bunch.
Yes, definitely that.
And I think too with the third one, it's Andy giving his toys away.
Yeah.
So it's memorable for that storyline.
Yeah, for those of us who were of age when Toy Story 1 came out, Toy Story 3 is our lives.
Yeah. And so the second one is kind of sandwiched in between those two.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's not. It'll be curious to see in 5 years how people will look at the fourth installment of the franchise. Is it more memorable than the second or even less? So far, I think it's less memorable than the second. But still a good movie, though.
All of them are great. All of them are great movies.
You know what? Funny thing is, the Disney investors meeting happened a couple of days ago. They announced all the Marvel stuff, all the Star Wars stuff, and I was losing my mind over most of it. Somehow, the thing that I'm most excited for is the new Lightyear movie.
Yeah.
It's the thing that really grabbed me the most out of all of that. Just seeing the human face of Buzz Lightyear in that helmet from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Voiced by Chris Evans. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people are like,
now.
where's Tim Allen? It's like, well, this isn't that Buzz.
Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense because when they make toys about real characters from movies, they don't always sound the same. They don't always use the same actors to do the toys.
And I mean, if they'd have done a Buzz Lightyear origin like 20 years ago, yes. Yeah. Tim Allen is probably over 60 right now.
And his voice sounds different from what it did back then.
Oh, totally. Like, perfect example, he's appearing as Tim the Toolman Taylor on an episode of Last Man Standing. And it's Tim the Tool. I'm with you. I can't wait. It's Tim the Toolman, but it's a very old Tim the Toolman, right?
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, me too. We are covering Home Improvement at one point, right, Ben?
Oh, definitely.
Yes, okay.
Definitely.
Oh, shit,
I don't know
he's
how.
younger than my dad. He's 67.
Uh,
So there's no way he could voice a young man.
Yep. And you need someone with the voice of true leadership to voice Buzz Lightyear. And so,
And
well,
who else?
Captain America.
Right? Yeah.
I gotta mention this. I'm assuming you all have watched Snowpiercer by now, the movie, not the show.
No, but I'm familiar enough with it to know what's going on.
There's a moment in it when Chris Evans' character kind of breaks down, starts crying. He's like, "I'm not a real leader." I'm like, "You're Captain fucking America! Come on!"
Oh
And
yeah,
it was
I don't.
2014, so it was already Captain America at that point in a couple of movies.
I'd say that's probably the best casting for a superhero outside of Chadwick and Christopher Reeve. That's in the like the top of perfect casting.
I remember putting Hugh Jackman in that list too.
and Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yeah, those would probably be the five, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Chris Hemsworth? Not in the top 5.
He'd be an honorable mention.
No one else can play Thor.
True. I guess.
Top 6.
Yeah, top 6.
Okay, so we'll go to Ben, your top 5.
Yeah.
So we can keep going forward.
My number 5 is from Mel Brooks' Raising Shadows. I'm tired.
Not on my list, but that is a fucking great song.
That is a great song. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that it can't get made today because it got made when it should have been made.
And you know what? I don't care. I can still watch it every day and still laugh at it every day.
Me too.
And that song epitomizes it for me.
Oh yeah. She's one of the best characters, but actually my favorite joke in the whole movie is when they first introduced the idea of the black sheriff to Mel Brooks, and he's like, "Come here," and he starts walking with the guy. "Do you know you just happened to hire a nyeh?" Hold on a second. And then he grabs Herbie Corman and is like, "Do you know you just hired a nyeh?"
I think, what comedian was it? I think it's Bo Burnham when he was like, white people like, and they're like, they like mac and cheese, or they like this, or they like that, and then they was like, and they like the chips, salt and vin, and then everyone goes, and they're like, look at all of these bigots.
That's great.
And this is one of my favorite songs. Look at my hat. It's the next one, but I'm hearing this one.
I can't remember if this joke appears in the movie. I think it's a deleted one. Yeah, it's a deleted one. It's when Lily Von Shtupp is seducing Bart, and the lights go off, and she's like, you start hearing like the sucking noise. She's like, "Oh, it's true, it's true." And he's like, "Lady, you're sucking on my elbow."
That could not be made today, but I love that.
No. You know what the best part is? Richard Pryor was one of the writers in the film. Do you know what character he wrote the jokes for?
Which one?
Mongo.
Really?
What?
Mongo is all Richard Pryor.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and originally he was wanted for Bart, but because he's Richard Pryor and he was too much of a liability, they couldn't do it because at one point nobody knew where he was, and he phone calls. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in Detroit. Can somebody send a plane to come pick me up?"
So on that note, what's your number 4, Matt?
Okay, so this is the only animated one on my list. It is, it's actually a recent Disney film. It is from Frozen 2, Lost in the Woods.
Okay.
The reason being is because that is the definition of an 80s power ballad. If you watch the video, they hit all the hallmarks of an 80s music video. Him singing to the pine cone as if it's a microphone.
That's the one with Kristoff.
That's the one with Kristoff and the moose.
Yeah,
and then they reenact the famous Queen shot.
Nice.
And my friend had seen the movie before this, and he's like, "There is an 80s power ballad song." And I'm like, so I'm sitting there watching, and then all of a sudden when that music cue kicks in, it's like my phone came out instinctively. Yeah, easily my favorite song in the movie because of it embodies everything I love about the 80s.
Although I will say, my niece would disagree with you saying that is an not an underrated because she sings all of Frozen 2 all the time. So I think
Right.
for the younger crowd, not so much, but I think for us who are adults who watch cartoons,
Yeah.
it's definitely not a song that we go for.
Yeah, because it's right up there with the other songs of the movie. It's just they're overshadowed by the other ones,
Like
unfortunately.
Into the Unknown is definitely what you think about when you think Frozen 2.
Right, but for me, it's Lost in the Woods just because of the personal connection to it. It cracks me up every time I'm watching it. Just the moose singing harmony. It's the only one of them from any of those movies I have on my phone. Okay then, 50. Unless anyone else has anything else to say about it.
I haven't seen the movie.
Really?
Really?
You know what? I'd argue it's better than the first one.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I didn't love
It's really good.
I didn't love the first one. You know, like, I don't know. Maybe I will watch it.
Yeah, I definitely watch it because it's a little darker.
Okay.
That's all. All I can say without giving anything away.
I think you should give it a shot.
Yeah,
I will.
And at the end of the day, I mean, you have Disney Plus,
yeah.
so I'm
If you don't
assuming
like it, you don't like
extra
it.
to watch it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
You can just move on over.
Yeah. Okay, 50. What is your number 4?
Ironically, my number 4, also a bit of a personal connection, also the most recent one on my list, and it's the song "Shiny" from Moana.
That's an underrated song.
It was a movie. It was a song that I didn't like at first, but it really grew on me.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Like a devil in the rough, diamond in the rough. Now, first of all, it's a great song. Jermaine Clement is obviously one of the greatest of our time.
Yeah,
I
and the
love
best
him.
part of one of the best parts of MIB3.
Jermaine Clemens is
Yeah, not a lot of great things in that movie, but he's one of the definitely
Yeah.
standout. Also, he's
Jermaine
a very
Clemens is a treasure. I can't say national treasure because he's not from the U.S. He's
Yeah.
from New Zealand, so he's a national treasure for New Zealand. But he's a treasure.
Oh, for sure.
yeah. Anyone here watch? I'm assuming everyone watched the movie of What We Do in the Shadows.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Taika
so
Waititi is my favorite director. One.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say that I've ever seen a Taika Waititi movie that I didn't like. Out of all 4 of them,
I'd say that one is actually my favorite Jermaine Clement role.
Me too.
As Vladislav.
Has any of you watched The Flight of Concord?
No.
Yes.
that's a
I've
movie.
seen
or
a
is
few
it-
episodes.
It's a TV show. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
is that a
If
movie?
you don't watch it, I think if you're gonna watch one episode, you need to watch the episode where Jermaine Clemens' character decides to become a prostitute.
Yep. Yep.
Sold.
It's a great show.
Got to see if it's streaming anywhere up here.
It's HBO, so you have HBO Max, right?
HBO Max is not up here, dude.
Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah, I can. Watch it on Crave.
Perfect.
Okay, so here's why this song is a bit of a personal connection to me. I mean, it's no secret that I'm a Pokemon fan, and well, if any of you guys know what shinies are in Pokemon, I'm assuming none of you guys know.
I've heard of the term. Yeah.
I think I heard.
I'm
You know
familiar
what?
more of it from Firefly. Stay shiny.
Okay, so basically, shiny Pokemon are Pokemon that are of a different color than the regular of the species, like albinos, like
Gotcha.
different colored animals. They're considered extremely rare and highly sought after. And well, I do love my shinies. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the first shiny that I ever have.
Yeah,
All I see is it's wings.
Okay, so hold on.
The dog's
And
looking at you like,
the-
what the hell?
Yeah, you move with a sleeping puppy.
Oh, wow, that's
Very
cool.
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you all know what the original color of this Pokemon is supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Purple.
This one's ever.
Purple, no?
No,
it's
blue. Blue, right?
Oh, it's orange.
Oh, yeah, I see the. I couldn't see the flame on the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I see the flame on the tail.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you broke the cardinal rule. You got up with a sleeping puppy on your lap.
Hey, he moved. He moved first. He had his whole head on my leg. This. Yeah. Anyways, shiny Pokemon are a pretty big deal to me, especially since I've been trying to get one for 4 days straight on this stupid fucking game, and I couldn't find one. I've been trying to find one since Thursday this week. I said to myself, I'm not going to stop until I find one, and I still haven't found one with the boosted odds and everything.
I gotta admit, one of my favorite things about the show is the occasional rant from 50.
I mean, it goes back to the primal human stuff of like, you want something, and because you can't get it, you want it even more.
Yep, I had the feeling with it. There's a game I feel like that quite a bit with.
Like, I was like, on Thursday, I was like, okay, man, I'll go a couple rounds in the new feature, which is called Dynamax Adventures. I'll go a couple of rounds until I find a shiny, and then 4, 5, 6 rounds, couldn't find one. So I said, okay, I'm not going to stop until I found one. Right now, I'm already up to about 60 of these, and I still haven't found a single one.
Yeah.
And the more.
So we know what 50 is doing after we record this.
Jeez.
I played it on the show if it wasn't, rude.
I can just imagine him popping up next week. I got it!
I guess on my number 4.
To capture it on live, so I'm just saying.
So my number 4 is, I took it more as this movie is underrated just with all the other animated movies that are out there. So it's from Road to El Dorado.
Ooh.
And it's
I just watched that recently for the first time.
Because Friends Never Say Goodbye with Elton John and the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
And it's a great song. If you love Elton John, if you love the Backstreet Boys, if you're a child of the 90s, early 2000s, you're going to love this song. So it's a great movie. That and another song that I'm going to pick earlier, which technically is not from the animated movie, but I know it from an animated movie. Like that era of animated movies, like
I have a feeling I know what it is.
Well, we'll see when we get to my it's my number 3. So I'll go into it there. But yeah, so definitely check that song out if you haven't. Check out that whole soundtrack, because you think Elton John, you think Lion King.
Yeah.
But definitely should check out El Dorado because he also did the music for that.
Yeah, that's a movie I'm guilty of not seeing until 4 months ago for the first time.
I got to watch it too.
It's on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, I caught it on Amazon, I think.
Nice.
And I think what's great too is like you have that funny, like there's some like adult humor in there, or like like that Aztec chick and the I'm forgetting the name of the character, but like that they're having sex on the floor, but you can't see it because
her head is over here and his head is over here, so they kind of have to.
I was shocked at a lot of the innuendo in that movie.
Yeah.
DreamWorks, baby.
That is true.
They did a lot of things that Disney and Pixar wouldn't do.
Yeah, and I love the choice of actors for the two main characters, Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline. Brilliant.
And then the gif that you see all the time is with the guitar thing where they're like.
Love it.
The gif I see more often is when they're both looking at each other and saying both.
Yeah,
So you can go now, Ben, with your number 4.
My number 4 is from South Park. Major logo at no, it's not from Canada. It's no resistance. It might be cheating, but it's like a ballad of all the songs in one. I love it every time I listen to it.
Yeah, no, I just watched that a couple of weeks ago. Still holds up, that movie.
Yeah.
For a movie that's 21 years old.
I would imagine so.
It's old enough to drink all over the world now.
There you go.
Kind of.
Was Kyle's mom?
Yes, for years that was my favorite. Yeah.
She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world.
She's a stupid bitch. If there was a bitch, she's a bitch too. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he does it to like all the different nations, and I'm like, that's racist. I know.
The funny thing is, because of who they are, that movie could still get made today.
100%. And I hope when they finally end the series, we get another one.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Like, don't end the series anytime soon, but
It's a great musical.
Or you could just make a movie and keep continuing the series. Like there's that too.
I think that's actually, they have gone on record and saying if they were to do another movie, that'd be the end of the series.
Okay.
Wait, no, that was not Simpsons movie.
Yeah.
Just do it in my lifetime. That's all I ask.
Yeah, agreed. No, that whole soundtrack is banger. I mean, to the point where Playing Canada was nominated for an Oscar.
And Robert Williams sang it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, it's like, you understand why they had success with the Book of Mormon after seeing that.
I love that movie. And that Broadway show.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Oh, dude.
It's great. And when I saw it in Nashville at TPAC, the Tennessee Performing Arts Center, and I was in row Z, which is the last row in the auditorium that we're in, and the voice of God comes in for a second, and the voice of God comes from a speaker in the back. So literally, like, the voice of God was in my ear because I was in the last row.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. Who was the voice of God? Was it anyone famous?
I don't think so, no.
Ah, bummer.
There was no Morgan Freeman, sadly.
I saw it in New York, and it was great.
Did you see it with Josh Gad?
No, sadly.
Oh, that would be
I
great.
know. I know.
Who was in it? Anyone famous?
No.
Yeah, that's when it comes to Broadway, I tend to most of the time hold off to listen to the soundtrack until I've actually seen it, because I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I listened to Hamilton before I saw it on Disney Plus. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Because rap has never been my thing. So I was like, okay, it's not for me. But then when I finally saw it, it was like the light bulb went off, you know?
Yeah. I think that was for me too with Hamilton, is I only listened to the first song, and then I did not listen to the soundtrack until after I saw it on Disney Plus, because I wanted to experience it first live. Whereas like In the Heights, I've never seen that. I've listened to the entire soundtrack. I love that soundtrack so much. But I think for me, I have a bias because it's very Latin sounding. It's very Caribbean sounding. So it's, even though I'm not watching the story unfold in front of me, it's the sound and the music that I listen to normally that is of my culture. So it's just like, I could just pop that on and listen to it.
Yeah, I did also try Within the Heights, and I got about halfway through the first act, and I'm like, unfortunately can't get into it. So it's another one. When I see the movie, we'll see how that goes.
That's coming out next year, right?
It's supposed to be.
It was supposed to be out this summer, 2020. It's now moved to next summer, 2021.
Okay.
Hamilton.
So we'll go with your number 3 now, Matt.
So this is the oldest one on my list. This is from a movie that came out in 1986, the year I was born. It is the first song you hear in the movie Pretty in Pink. And the band name is one of the most creative ones I've ever heard. It's a song called If You Leave. And it's by a group called Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. It's the weirdest name I've ever heard, but I love it. I don't know why. A couple months ago, I was like, let's try to find some 80s stuff to listen to. And I had the soundtrack to this. So I'm like, okay, threw it on. And this song just hooked me. It's just something about the beat and the lyrics and John Hughes knowing to pick the right song for the right movie. This is one of the best songs on the soundtrack. I'd say it's up there with Don't You Forget About Me and Pretty in Pink as some of the most iconic John Hughes stuff. It's such a good song. And it's very 80s. Very 80s new wave. And I take it none of you have heard of it.
Nope. It was on the movie.
But I see a theme here with 80s music.
You love your 80s.
Oh, fucking A. I was told by my grade 10 science teacher I was born 20 years too late. Because in high school in the early 2000s, that's all I listened to was 80s.
Nice.
And
Hey, I grew up on oldies rock and disco.
Yeah.
So with me, I was always like, oh, let me listen to this song from the 70s. Oh, let me listen to this song from the 80s. And people were like, what is this music?
Yeah. This is one I probably will drop a couple more into the chat that I would recommend you listen to just to get it. This is my number one.
Nice.
Okay, 50, what is your number 3?
Okay, so sticking on the topic of Pokemon, mine is from the first Pokemon movie. It's another song that doesn't get talked about enough because obviously everyone always remembers the main theme song for Pokemon, obviously, and it's "Brother, My Brother." It's the song that plays in the English version, that is, while all of the normal Pokemon and Mewtwo's clones are fighting each other, and it takes place right before Ash kind of runs into the bombardment from Mewtwo and Mew, and they basically turn him into stone. And it's this very sad song. Again, going back to the theme of savages from Pocahontas, the lyrics of the song are literally, why are we fighting? We're both the same. I mean, we're both friends. Why do you need to fight? And it's basically the whole message of the movie again. It's the whole Mewtwo's journey. That famous iconic line that he says, "I see now it's not the circumstances of one's birth that determine who you are. It's the actions." I'm probably butchering it right now, but I love the message of that song. I'm super pissed that they removed it for the remake last year.
Really?
For some reason they just removed it and they replaced it with some other instrumental thing. But another reason I have a very personal connection to it is because I actually made a video using that song regarding the feud between Andrew Guy and Bane Bateman.
Okay, you have to put that in the chat.
I will, and you're gonna love it. I mean, it's a very sad song, but when viewed through that particular context, it's hilarious. And remember when last show I mentioned that I thought everything was real, that I didn't know what babe is, and I thought I was one of those people. Oh, I was one of those idiots that was like, "Stop putting violence in the Schmodown. We need peace." So I put this thing in the Facebook group, and first of all, everyone was just yelling at me, "Dude, it's not real. It's fake. It's fake."
Really?
It's all that. The first comment on the Facebook group, surprisingly enough, came from Andrew Guy.
Nice.
He said, "Pretty good. It almost made me forget that he's a backstabbing traitor."
Awesome. You definitely got to put that up. I want to see this now.
Yeah,
You're a very creative man, my friend.
So I guess I'll go with my number 3, which I think it's underrated depending on what generation you're from.
Okay.
So I think like Gen X and like older millennials know this song, but I think younger millennials and Gen Z are not gonna know this song as well. I originally thought Treasure Planet when this song came up, but it's actually from another movie called City of Angels, and that is Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm definitely. Yeah, I am on the older end of the millennial trail, so I know exactly what song that is.
So for I think I'm literally like right at the middle point between the older and younger millennials. So for me, I know this song and I love this song. Yeah. And so I was thinking, oh, this is a song that like is not underrated. But then I was asking like some younger people and they're like, I've never heard of that song before. So I was like, okay, then it is underrated. And we need to let everyone, all of our fans, no matter what age you are, if you don't know the song, go check it out. It's like just the fact, the lyric, like, I don't want the world to see me because I don't think that they'll understand.
I don't want the world to see me. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think that they'll understand.
The reason I don't think it's underrated is because I hear it on the radio pretty much all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, yeah, you're right. People younger than us don't know the song, but people in our age group, we heard it a lot at the time.
Also, can I just mention, everybody needs to watch Treasure Planet. If we ever do underrated Disney movies, that's number one. It's the most underrated Disney movie of all time.
Yeah, 100%. And don't watch the sequel to Atlantis. Just don't.
Yeah, just Atlantis, Treasure Planet, like those two, Road to El Dorado. Like,
there's a sequel to Atlantis?
Well,
there's a sequel.
Okay, so yes, but originally what it was, they were supposed to do it. Did they end up doing a TV show of Atlantis?
No, I think it was
okay, because this sequel movie is really the first couple episodes put into a movie.
Okay,
it's the same thing that they did with Aladdin. They did that. Like, yeah.
Aladdin made it.
Technically, the pilot of The Lion Guard is also theatrically released.
Yeah, so it's just one of those where they just took a couple episodes and just made a movie out of it. It's none to go home about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I put it on, because I love that song, and I know that, like, we know that song, but I think it's underrated to the newer generation. So I think they need to know it.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, no, I still remember when that came out, because, for years you couldn't escape that song on the radio.
Yeah.
To the point where I think it even might have become a punchline at one point. But yeah, it's
song.
If you were to say Goo Goo Dolls to people of our generation, that's probably the one they would go to, is Iris, because it is a good song.
Yeah.
All right, Betty Boy, you're number 3.
Mine is about a romantic song that brings two people together who were having an affair every weekend. Scotty doesn't know from your fan.
I can't believe I didn't fucking think of that song. Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. And you know what's funny? That song has not left my iPod since that movie came out, and I didn't even think about it.
It's a great movie and a great song.
Yep. Definitely. Oh, fuck yeah.
Matt Damon, seeing it was unreal.
Oh, God, I still remember that for the first time. He just happened to be in Croatia when they were filming.
And isn't that Kristen Stewart?
Yeah. Smallville. She took that role because it's so opposite of Lana.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen this movie, Saul?
I have not, but I know that song.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that song at this point. Like, I mean, it's like it is in the movie. Like, as you progress, you hear it in a rave club. You hear it as a ringtone.
Yeah, it's become a worldwide hit.
Honestly, I would highly recommend you watch this movie, Saul.
Okay.
It's very it's in the vein of the American Pie road trip, like, raunchy teen comedy films.
And I've seen those.
It's so fucking funny. Wundersex? Oh my god.
What's her name?
Yeah, it's Lucy Lawless.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xena, Warrior Princess, is in the movie as a dominatrix. And that was my first exposure to Fred Armisen.
Yeah, mine too.
He plays this creepy Italian guy in a train, which is worth it alone.
I'm sold.
Yeah, it's good.
The first time I watched that movie, I was still in the army.
Really?
We had like movie night.
Oh, yeah.
The gang. And, in the army, sexual stuff isn't really allowed.
Really?
Because, it's the army. It's to avoid complications later on, but
okay.
A lot of butt stuff in that movie. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah, I remember the first time I showed it to my friends Randy and Alex were watching it, and there's a scene where a butt gets pressed against the screen window, and they're like, "Boom!" A lot of ass shots.
Because of where that butt stuff takes place.
Yeah. No, you're right, Dad. This isn't where I parked my car. God, what was the other one? How much money do you have? We need to find a place, and then all of a sudden they rent out like the grandest hotel and wherever that is. Yeah, so I'll definitely watch this. I've owned the DVD since it came out.
Yeah.
It's next on my list then.
Yeah. This was the first Matt Damon cameo.
Yeah.
Really? So that's where it started.
That's where it started. Yeah. I mean, like he did one in Chasing Amy for Kevin Smith, but I mean, like first one on a big scale. This is the first
Yeah.
one.
I kind of
And-
think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, and it's at the time like everyone knows about it now, but at the time like it was so out of left field for the character he did.
I kind of think that regarding that song, I think the joke of that song is more famous and talked about than the
Yeah.
actual song itself, and to the point where people don't even know that it's a song from a movie.
Yeah, and the song is a great rock song.
Yeah,
Great
actually.
rock song. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Matt, what's your number? What?
I said
Johnny
now
doesn't-
I might watch the movie tonight after the pay-per-view instead of Godfather Saga. I don't know.
What?
Okay,
Oh, your
so
number
my
two.
number 2 is one of the most talked about movies in this sphere the year it came out. Let's see. I watched this movie. The first time I watched this movie, within the week following, I think I watched it 5 times that week. It's my favorite song off of the Sing Street soundtrack, Up.
That's my number 2.
Yes, my girl.
Because
Best song in this movie.
band kid connection here.
Damn right.
Because originally I was thinking I want to put Sing Street in here. I
Yep.
don't know which song yet, so I listened to it and I was about to put Riddle of the Model in, and I was
Ooh,
like, no, it has to be Up.
Riddle and Model is probably my least favorite, actually, of those
Oh,
songs.
I like Riddle of the Model a lot, but I love Up.
Yeah, me too.
It is a great love song. It is just, yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, me too. It is the music. Oh, even though I don't like personally Riddle of the Model, all the music, the original music in that movie is so good. I could have made a case for To Find You, which is another great one.
Or
Yeah.
what is it? Where I parked my car or something?
Drive It Like You Stole It, which
Drive
is
It
a
Like You
great
Stole
dance
It.
song.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I was confusing it with something else, but yeah, like all of them, all
Yeah.
of the songs in that movie. I was turned on to that movie actually because of Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell kept talking
Yeah.
about that movie so much and it was on Netflix at the time. when he
Screen
was talking
Junkies,
about it. Yep. So I went and I watched it, and I was like, why didn't I watch this sooner? The
Right,
music
100%.
is amazing.
It's I'd say it's my favorite non-North American movie ever made. Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely up there for me. And yeah, the soundtrack, even the stuff that's not original is great. Like Motorhead and all those guys. This is the movie I think I bought the most because I bought the DVD and it didn't come with a digital copy. So then I bought it again for so I could have it on my iPad. And then I think I might have bought it another time on top of that. And it was like money well spent. And for a long time, it was the only movie I had downloaded on my phone so I could watch it wherever. Yeah, it's and I remember showing it to my friends and they're like, this movie's really good even though you can't understand half what they're saying.
That's what subtitles are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite character is probably Eamon,
Yeah.
the best friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please tell
that's
me you've
right.
seen this movie, Ben.
No.
Dude, you're robbing yourself.
I know.
It's right up your alley, Ben.
It is.
I know. I'm going to. Because I'm going to watch it. Put this on my list too.
Yeah,
And it
it's a
has
must.
the Dan Murrell stamp of approval.
Oh, 100%. Dan
Yeah.
Murrell, JTE, What's His
Yeah.
Nuts, whose name we don't mention. Like, all those Screen Junkies at that time
Yeah.
all vouch for this movie. And I'm glad they did. Have you seen the 50? You got to. This is one you got to watch as well.
Yeah. And I think, Up is the best of the soundtrack,
Yeah.
but like every song on the soundtrack is pretty much a banger.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And also, it's got Littlefinger from Game of Thrones in it as the dad.
Yep.
Oh, Brown Shoes is another good song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a great way to get
I
back.
listen to that soundtrack every once in a while when
Me
I'm just
too.
like, oh, I just want to feel good. Let me go pop on the Sing Street
Me too.
soundtrack. Which, if you don't find the movie wherever, just pop on the soundtrack.
Oh, 100%. Easy. It's a movie, I'd say buy it if you haven't seen it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's great. It's
Not
a-
on
YouTube is always your friend if you want a free way to listen to
Yeah.
the soundtrack.
when Drive It Like You Stole It was not nominated for the Oscar that year, I almost threw my remote through the window. I was so mad.
I was so upset about that. And then also, what's going to be my number one? It's from a movie that I've mentioned before in our top 5. And it's not the song that is mentioned here on my number one, but one of the songs from that movie should have been nominated for an Oscar, and it wasn't. And I think it's because it came out earlier in that year. So, like, it was one of those, came out early, so we forgot about it.
There is another song in this same boat that I will argue I was pissed. Well, this one was nominated, but I would argue it is a better song and it'll last the test of time more. And it's the song This Is Me from The Greatest Showman, which lost to Remember Me from Coco, which, don't get me wrong, Remember Me from Coco is a great song, makes me cry every time.
That year had great, like, you had Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name, you had Remember Me from Coco, you have This Is Me from Greatest Showman. Like, it was like year for songs. And so, like, when I was looking, I was like, why did this song win a best Oscar? Like, win the Oscar for when I was watching Call Me By Your Name. And I was like, oh, it was because of Remember Me. And with me, like, I think Remember Me should have won, and it did win. So I loved it.
Yeah, no, see, for me, it's This Is Me because it's a great song, and right off the bat, it was an anthem, and it instantly ingrained itself into the pop culture. I think those 3 things should have propelled it to Best Picture, to the best song win. Again, nothing from any of the other songs because they were all great, but This Is Me, I think, out of all of them, will last the test of time longer.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay, 50, what is your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2 is the odd one out. It's the most oddball one in my list. And Christian Harloff, I really hope you're watching this right now because it's a song from one of his favorite movies, Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh, I hate that movie.
Wait. It gets even crazier. Even crazier. Okay, because that movie
you're talking the animated or the live action?
The animated one.
Okay, good, because I hate the live action.
I've never seen it.
Don't.
Eventually, maybe one day I will. But the particular song that I'm referring to, I don't even know the name of it in the English version because my brain is somehow has the Hebrew version burned into my mind, and it's the song that all the birds and the sea creatures are singing after they go out of the water that was made from Alice's tears, the ocean. They're running around in a circle to get dry, while the waves are still hitting them, by the way, so they never actually do get dry. And there's the dodo guy standing on the rock, and he's the only one dry because he's got a fire beside him. So they're all just running around singing a stupid song, trying to keep themselves dry and warm. And
what's the Hebrew name of the song?
Merotz HaBirburim. I don't even think there's the translation for it. It's race. It's the bumbling race, I guess. There's a way to say it. But someone woke up. I'm free.
I can't find it on the soundtrack because it's been a long time since I've actually watched this movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since I was a little girl. It's been a very long time.
It's definitely a movie that needs to be watched once in a couple of years. But I don't really talk. I am not really a big fan of the Hebrew translations of a lot of Disney movies, especially the songs, because they butcher a lot of the meaning of those songs. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of exceptions for sure. I think that one in particular, they did it right. That particular song. The rest of the movie, not so much, but the particular song, they really nailed it because it's a perfect representation of all the craziness and wackiness and goofiness that
Ocean of Tears.
What?
Ocean of Tears.
That's
the English name.
Okay, so I'll just look it up later. But basically, I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember the English version. But in the Hebrew version, they're just running around singing a song about how they want to they're running so they can keep themselves dry. And the song, if you understand Hebrew, it's some of the craziest lyrics you'll ever hear. It's like, Mala שמאל ימין כולנו כאן רצים כי מה שמייבש זה רק מרוץ הפרבורים שוב קדימה באחורה זו המעלה כי למרוץ הזה אין סוף כי אין לו התחלה. So basically what I just said is, what is he doing? Johnny Law. So, anyways, I was looking at that sad face.
Peppers.
Anyway, so basically what they're saying is up and down, left and right. We're all running around in a circle because the only thing that drives you is the bumbling race. Forward again, and back. That's the circle. I'm not too sure about the translation of the word circle. Because and then the last part of it is because this song has no ending because it doesn't have a beginning. That's basically what they're saying in the song. And
Okay.
like then the Dodo is like yeah, well, as part of the song he's saying we'll start it tomorrow, but yesterday was yesterday it's over, something like that. It's hard to translate that, but yeah, it's a very crazy song with crazy lyrics, and I just love it. And a little bit of behind the scenes here for the audience. Last night I kind of made a bit of a blunder, and I accidentally wrote something in Hebrew in our private Facebook chat.
Yeah.
I was listening to that song at that moment, and that's probably why I was so chill about it.
And
Nice.
then I was like, I'm going to be funny and I'm going to answer in Spanish. And then we had Matt answer in French. And Ben was probably like, I'm just over here.
Yeah. I was just high enough for when he 50 put that in. I was like, I said to Giff, I think I understand that.
Just in case anyone is actually wondering, this is basically what I wrote last night on the Facebook chat. Hold on, let me just find it.
But yeah, I answered. I was like, yo no sé qué tú estás diciendo, which is I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. I responded in something similar in French. Just give me a second to find it.
Okay, so because the letters.
Oh, I said I have nothing to say.
What did I say? I think I had nothing funny.
Yeah, because the letters here match the English letters.
Oh, I'm boring. All I know is English.
And what was funny too is like, I think when you said I don't have nothing to say in French, I was just like, these are both Spanish and French are both Latin.
Oh, yeah.
Language, vulgar Latin.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it's nothing compared to the Spanish way of saying I have nothing to say. Yo no tengo nada que decir. And so I was just like, this is much longer than what you wrote in French.
Yes, well, it's because French, well, basically most languages, but particularly French and Spanish, have roots in Latin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Portuguese, for me, I can read Portuguese because Portuguese and Spanish have 89% lexical similarities.
Yeah.
It's just that when they speak, when a native Portuguese or Brazilian speaker speaks Portuguese, I'm like, what are you saying? Because they pronounce the words different. Even words that are spelled the exact same way in Spanish and Portuguese sound completely different depending if it's a Spanish speaker or a Portuguese speaker saying it.
Okay.
So, like, when I hear it, I can't understand it. But when I read it, I'm like, oh, I know what's going on. But the funny thing is the other way around. Portuguese speaker can understand us, but we can't understand them.
So the moment I realized the similarities, the Catholic school I went to was called Veritas, which is Latin for truth. In French, vérité is French for truth. What is it in Spanish?
And that is Spanish.
See, all the same root word. That's when I first clicked into me, was because of that. It was truth, ironically enough.
Fun fact, the Hebrew word for truth is emet, which ironically enough is the name of the protagonist from the Lego movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
And I believe Doc Brown is no.
So Ben, what's your number 2 since I?
Oh yeah, 50 wanted to put up his thing first.
Yeah, so here's basically what I wrote. Okay, krech niktemu comma kasbudik maash bumtsik the p naitzit chdisha. So basically, this is literally what I wrote down, because just random letters.
Yeah.
And random inconsistent letters. But yeah, I was high on listening to that song, so I just rolled with it.
Yeah, no, honestly, when I popped up, I was like, the hell? It's like, how high on hookah is he?
I wasn't high on hookah at that moment. Because
no, you were high on music, which is the best high.
Yeah. And that particular song, which is the best type of high.
Yeah.
And it only goes back to the fact that the entire Alice in Wonderland, the book, the movie, everything, it's based on a guy taking mushrooms.
Yeah.
And remember, we talked about the guy taking mushrooms when we talked about the top 5 comedians stuff. We know what it does to a person.
Yes, we do.
Especially
I've never tried it, but I know stories.
That's the best part, because if you take it, you probably don't remember much.
Speaking of which, Ben, what is your number 2?
Hey,
sorry, cut that out. Edit.
Okay, hold on. Let me just cut that out.
God damn it. Ah. Does anyone know how to extract a foot from their mouth?
This is what Alice in Wonderland does to people.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yes. Please take us away from Alice in Wonderland, Ben.
well, okay. I'm taking you to a 2011 movie. I'm gonna pick any song from this movie. The Muppets. And I picked Life is a Happy Song.
You're talking the first Muppet movie?
No, the one from 2011.
Oh, okay.
11 single.
Yeah, okay. Good movie.
I love that movie.
I only saw it once, I think.
I've seen it a few times. No, that's another one where the soundtrack and as a whole is memorable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. That song just puts me in a good mood every time I watch it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. My personal favorite is The Manor Muppet.
Yeah.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
It's super on screen.
Yeah.
It's another one of those movies that it's been so long since I watched it that what I've noticed is when like rereading books or rewatching movies, it's like, oh, that's what happens. It's like you forgot what actually happens. Like you have fond memories of it, but you don't actually remember what went on or the music or any of like the plot details. And so you're like, oh yeah, that's what happened.
In my opinion, the Muppets, Jason Segel is the heart of that movie.
100%.
Gonzo!
And since he wasn't in the second one, I never saw it. I don't know.
The second one is definitely inferior, but it's got its own merits.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff in the gulag.
Maybe I'll watch it.
My favorite part of the second one is, I'm the usher. It took you a while to remember that, didn't it?
It did, yes, because I've only seen it twice.
Well, I've seen it once. By the way, my favorite part of the first one, it's no shade on the movie. It's a great movie, but my favorite part of the first one is the ending.
Oh yeah, Banana.
The poster on top of the wall was like, "Will you marry me?" Manamana. Manamana. What a great way to end that movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So here's a little nice historical tidbit for you. The studio they go to in that Jason Segel one, to go find the Muppets, is actually the Muppet Studios.
Oh wow.
But do you know whose studio that was before Jim Henson bought it?
I'm looking at Disney.
Nope. It's older than Disney.
Okay, who?
Charlie Chaplin.
Wow.
That is the former Charlie Chaplin Studios. That's why when you go to the Muppet Studios, on top of the building is Kermit dressed as Charlie Chaplin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is Charlie Chaplin's old film studio.
That is a definition of a legacy studio.
100%. And okay, what's everyone's favorite Muppet movie here?
I really like that one, The Muppets, 2011.
That's definitely a good one. That's like top 3 for me.
Is it they did a pirate one, right?
Yeah, that's mine. Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. I would put that one.
I gotta say either Muppets in Space or
That's a
Muppets
good
from Space or the Muppets of Oz. One of the two. I don't think I can decide.
Okay, let me help you with my question. Who is everybody's favorite Muppet?
Duh.
Animal! Animal! Animal!
It's Gonzo the Great. Whatever.
Gonzo was my favorite for a long time, but Animal is just too...
Rizzo the Rat is up there too for his one-liners.
You know who
I don't
my mom...
know. Like,
Who's my
there's
mom's
so
favorite
much. I think like Gonzo or Beaker or
Beaker.
So yeah, but I guess I'll go
Yeah,
with Gonzo too. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a great video I'm going to show you in the chat. I'm assuming all of you guys are familiar with Adam Savage from Mythbusters.
Yes.
You ever heard of Mythbusters 50?
I've heard of the name Mythbusters.
Okay. Well, anyways, he's got his own channel now called Tested, which is a lot about technology and stuff like that. And it's one of my favorite
How
videos
did
to
I
watch.
not know about this?
It's one of my favorite videos to watch. He went and toured the Jim Henson Museum. So you see an actual Big Bird. You see the actual puppet of Miss Piggy from one of the Muppet movies in a wedding dress. They got the original Kermit. They got Ralph. They got stuff from the Dark Crystal, Labyrinth.
Nice.
Holy, I'm going to share that with you guys because it is a half hour well spent.
Speaking of Labyrinth, I forgot to mention something. The song, my number 4 pick, Shiny, inspired by David Bowie's song in that movie. Magic
Oh,
Dance.
yeah. The fuck? Somebody started drilling up above me, I guess.
I was just like, did a plane
just
land on your ceiling?
Ceiling.
The hell? Okay, so before we hit our number ones and before somebody goes through my roof, honorable mention time.
Okay.
I'll go last because I got a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first because it's really super easy. The entire soundtrack of Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Okay.
The entire soundtrack.
Okay.
Go listen to it. It's great. You have the Bin Laden song. You have the I'm a Weirdo song. You have the I'm So Humble song. You got Pink and Adam Levine, and you have like all of these different artists that join in, and it's hilarious and it's wonderful, and it's definitely like the Lonely Island but movie form. So yeah, go listen to that entire soundtrack.
Yes, sir. All right, Ben.
My honorable mention is I'm a Dude from the movie Good Burger.
I've never actually seen Good Burger.
Really?
Yeah, that whole '90s Nickelodeon thing completely skipped me.
Can I take your order?
Yeah, that I know, but I mean, like that whole '90s Nickelodeon just completely skipped me to live action stuff.
You might want to check that out. Not a bad little.
Good Burger has a place right here. I love that movie.
If it ever pops up on streaming, I will. I just haven't seen it on streaming yet.
It's a funny movie. 150?
I don't think I've heard about this movie yet.
It's a very '90s movie.
It is super 90s.
I wasn't a fan of Nickelodeon at the time.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I didn't even have Nickelodeon at the time over here. So.
It means more the cartoons I prefer.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, and also, I'm actually in the same boat as 50. It was like, well, during that time, I had like 20 channels up here. Nickelodeon was not one of them. We had YTV up here, which is obviously youth television. So some of the Nick cartoons, like Doug and some of that, would air on there. But I never saw a lot of that live action stuff. Yeah,
So
until cable
I have to
expanded.
get my charger, so we're going to have a change of scenery.
Okay, 50. What is your, if you have any?
Okay, so my honorable mention, and the reason why I'll explain why I don't think why it's an honorable mention and not on my list. It's the song "He Lives in You" from The Lion King 2 Simba Scar. Because you know me, I gotta put The Lion King in there somewhere.
The stuff with God, what's his name? Labo M, so good. Is that who that is? The guy who did all the chanting and stuff.
If you say so. But yeah, like I said, I gotta put The Lion King in here somewhere, and because it's the sequel, it's the directed video sequel. Not a lot of people like that movie, so it's a lesser talked about song from that movie. But I think it's one of the better songs in that franchise, and that's saying something because it's The Lion King. So again, the reason why it's an honorable mention, not on my list specifically, mostly because it's not original to the movie. It actually started from the Broadway show, which leads into my second point. It's in the Broadway show. It made it into the movie. There's a rendition of it in the 2019 version. So yeah, it's not like Disney's not promoting that song enough. It's just I personally don't think that song gets mentioned enough in conversations, and that's why I think it's underrated.
Honestly, I think Lion King 2 does not get mentioned enough, period.
Yeah.
Or Lion King 1.5. I also like that movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
that's the what is it? The Rosencrantz and Hildegard must die of the thing, because first one's Hamlet, second one's Romeo and Juliet, and then the third one is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern must die.
Guildenstein.
Yeah.
Look beyond what you see.
Yep.
Beyond what you see. Beyond. How am I supposed to look beyond what I see beyond that?
I love Timon so much. Hands down, favorite Timon moment. Timon moment. The hula from the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really like it. I like what they did with the remake. I like that change up.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I didn't like the remake at all, but I will say they were the best part.
Yeah. Now, regarding, like I said, The Lion King 2, I think the reason why it's not talked about enough is because the first one is such a ridiculously high bar that nothing can ever top it. So, is it as good as the original? No. Is it still a worthwhile watch? Absolutely, yes.
There's another reason. I think there's another reason why. Because this was direct to video.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That too. But again, like I said, is it a great movie? No. Is it a fun, enjoyable movie for people who like the first one?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, totally a worthy follow-up.
I don't know why they didn't do it. I mean, you have like one of the best movies, animated movies of all time. You would think a sequel would bring in some money.
But you know what, Ben? Take a look at Disney, and it wasn't up until Toy Story 2. No, Rescuers Down Under was the first sequel to ever go to theaters for Disney. Everything else up till then and after that. And everything up till Toy Story 2 was all direct.
Aladdin was straight to DVD. Lion King was straight to DVD. Didn't they have like a Little Mermaid 2 straight to DVD?
Yeah, 2 and 3. Pocahontas 2 was straight to DVD. It was straight to video.
Tarzan, Cinderella.
Yeah.
Actually, was Return to Neverland theatrically released?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. But it was really, really, like I said, Toy Story 2, which really put the standard of it that, yes, these movies can go theatrically.
Oh, no, Return to Neverland was theatrically released, but it was after Toy Story 2, so...
So no, we're talking about too much.
Yeah.
Well, going to my number 2, it is a movie that I have talked about before in our top 5s.
I thought you said Up was number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, my number one, sorry.
Oh, you said number 2.
My number one.
Let's talk about his honorable mentions, though.
Yeah.
Well, let's do okay. Because of the mix-up, yes, we'll do my honorable mentions, and then we'll do Soul's number 2, because you said your number 1 is Up, correct?
No, my number 2 is Up. My number 2 is Up. I've already mentioned my honorable mentions, which was I Love Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yes,
I'm going to my number 1.
Okay, well, I haven't done my honorable mentions yet.
I thought you did. I'm sorry.
No. My honorable mentions or my number 1.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries. So my honorable mentions. First one is from the movie That Thing You Do. It is the song I Need You, That Thing You Do. It plays over the credits.
Okay.
Number 2, you could pick either version of the song. They're both equally as great. It's from the movie The Mambo Kings, Beautiful Maria of My Soul. Los Lobos does both English and Spanish version, both equally as beautiful. The third one is from the mockumentary A Mighty Wind, called A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow. Number 4 is actually where my name came from, and it is a movie that I am in the minority of. I like Pearl Harbor, and it is the song There You'll Be by Faith Hill. No, seriously, that whole fight scene and that whole attack is one of the best things I've ever seen in cinema, but that, another story for another time. And then the next one is from A Star Is Born. It is the song Music to My Eyes. And then my final one is from Toy Story 3, We Belong Together. Well, yes, it was nominated for an Oscar or whatever, but nobody talks about it as much. And it is a great, great big band song.
That's not the same song as from, that was in the Ricky Bobby movie, is it?
No.
Okay.
We belong together.
Okay.
Okay, and now my number 1 is from the most maligned. Before I go to my number 1, Jordan wanted to say he couldn't get a list, but he wanted to mention the whole Rocky IV soundtrack. Which, funny enough, my number 1 is from Rocky V. Yes, and I will go to my death saying Rocky IV is the better movie, but Rocky V is the better written movie. But anyways, my number 1 is a hidden Elton John gem. And it plays over the montage credits of Rocky V. It is a song called Measure of a Man. It essentially encapsulates Rocky's entire journey through those 5 movies, and especially the 5th one, about how he had it all, he lost it, and you don't let it get you down. You know, that's not what makes you a man, is what your worth, what your value, what your monetary value is. It's what you are inside. It's, nobody's heard of this song. It's you don't hear it anywhere. You don't see it on any greatest hits or anything, but goddamn, is this a banger of a song.
I mean, Elton John, has he done a song that's bad? Has he? I don't think so.
Nope.
No. But yeah, that's my number 1. Goddamn. I wish this song got talked about more. Unfortunately, it's attached to a movie that's got as bad a stigma as Rocky V has. But fuck. I will never not like this song.
Okay.
Okay, 50, you're number 1.
Okay, so my number 1, last week when you mentioned underrated songs inside of a movie, this was the first one that popped into my head. And, as I recently Googled, it is not original to that movie, but I didn't know that at the time. So I'm sticking to it, and it's from the first Shrek movie, I'm on My Way by the Proclaimers.
Yep, that's good.
Because, again, it's a good song, but it's in a movie with so many other better songs that nobody even talks about that one particular one. Because everyone always talks about the Smash Mouth, All Star, and Believer. They talk about the Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah. No one talks about this song, which isn't a very fun, enjoyable part of the movie. It's when Shrek and Donkey are literally on their way to save the princess.
Yeah.
The shenanigans that happens along the way.
It's a great song pick.
It is, yeah. That is a memorable soundtrack from the days of yore, from our youth, right?
And a great movie, too.
Oh, fuck yeah. Still holds
I
up.
love that movie. I love my
Honestly,
I think
DreamWorks has done such a great job with all of their movies that they don't get enough credit. Like, all 3 How to Train Your Dragons are awesome. The Shrek franchise is great. And then you have The Road to El Dorado there. And then you'll also, like, Fleshed Away. I enjoyed that movie.
It's a fun
I forgot about that one.
So, like, DreamWorks has had some pretty great movies.
Prince of Egypt.
Prince of
Ben, you need
Egypt.
to watch that one.
That's a good one.
That is
Madagascar, is that them or?
Yeah, Madagascar. Oh God, King. What the hell is Sacha Baron Cohen's character?
The New York
Julian!
Yeah, King. Gotta love that character, especially in the second one.
I love all the girls who love to move their body.
Yeah.
And when you move your body, you're gonna move it nice and sweet and sassy. All right?
God, okay, forget it. That's what I'm watching tonight. Madagascar 2.
So going to my number one now that I'm not confused. So, movie that I've mentioned before in our top 5, and that is from the movie Hearts Beat Loud.
Yep.
And it's the Nick Offerman song Shut Your Eyes. And the reason is, so the other songs, they have a little bit more instrumentation. There's a little bit more of like the soundboard in it.
Yep.
This one is just acoustic guitar, Nick Offerman's voice, and it's a song about basically, in the movie you have like his wife passed away, and him and his wife were in a band together, and then he ends up creating a band with his daughter before his daughter leaves to go to college. And so the song is like about the death of his wife, but specifically written for his daughter. And
Sorry, what was the name of the song again?
It's called Shut Your Eyes.
Ah, there it is. I'm downloading it right now on Apple Music.
Yeah, it's like shut your eyes, give it time. And like it's just a sweet song. I'm going with the sad songs today because it is like it tugs at your heartstrings.
Well, you know what? The sad songs are usually the ones that stick with you the most.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
that is my number one.
Just downloading it right now.
Nice.
Because I really love just simple acoustic guitar and vocals. I really do.
So Ben, you can go now to your number one.
My number one is another song from another Trey Parker and Matt Stone movie, Cannibal the Musical.
You did mention this to me. It's their first movie.
Okay, not surprised I didn't hear about that.
The song is called The Sky is Blue. And it's about the guy riding a horse, being happy-go-lucky on a nice day. It's a funny song.
I have never heard of this movie before.
This was their first. This is way before South Park. I think even before Orgasmo. It's a very low budget musical, lighthearted musical they made based on an actual person named Alfred Packer, who was an infamous cannibal in Colorado. Hence the name Cannibal the Musical.
It definitely sounds like a movie they would make.
Oh yeah.
It's funny as heck.
It's hard to get. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
I'll have to try to look it up. That sounds pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time hearing about that, I was like, you bet. Yeah, only they could get away with this.
Yes.
I think that's all of our top 5. Right?
Yeah, that is the very end. So now it is time for Sol to reveal her topic for next week.
Yeah.
So the topic for next week is top 5 movies with a mostly POC, person of color cast. So there can be some white people in the movie, but it has to be mostly non-white people as the cast. So that is next week's topic.
Yep. I might have my 5 already.
I might have my top 2.
I'm just debating, because it probably will be on all our lists. I'm debating about leaving Black Panther off.
I forgot about that one for a second.
Yeah, because especially in the last few years, there's quite a few that have come out that are really good.
Yeah.
I have a question though. If I have an Israeli movie featuring all Israeli cast, is that considered a people of colors movie?
Basically, what you're getting at is a movie with a cast that's not predominantly white.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm predominantly white, so that's why I'm asking.
And I think too, if you look at like what Caucasian is for all of Europe, North Africa, and the like Middle Eastern is considered being part of the race Caucasian.
Really?
So yeah, so if you are white from North Africa, the Middle East, or Europe descent, you're technically Caucasian.
Huh.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. So mine doesn't count, I suppose.
I would allow it because I wouldn't know where to put that. Like, I guess.
It's a movie we've talked about before several times on my top 5 lists. So I'm just asking for semantics.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
There
I
we
think
go.
I will have some wiggle room on like if it's anything from North Africa, Middle East, Israel. Like I'll have wiggle room there.
I mean, it's predominantly half and half. Like half white, the other half non-white. Then
Then
again,
go for it. Yeah, go for it then.
Yeah.
okay. So it's such a good movie. I can't leave it out of this list.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Nope, that's just the way it goes, right? So yes, thank you very much for everybody for joining us today. I love talking music. I could go on all day about it. That's why I've picked a few music topics, and there, don't worry, you'll probably see some more later on.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So yes, before we go, it's 50. Where can everybody find you?
Okay, so you can find me on my channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me on my Twitch channel, 50 Shades of Geek and 50 Shades of Gaming. Not very active on those, but I am planning to make a live stream of this thing until I finally find myself a fucking shiny on camera. But yeah,
Will you sing shiny while you're doing it? That's my question.
Probably I will. Thank you for the idea. But yeah, that's probably going to be in the next couple of weeks. You can also catch Johnny here with me all week until I have to give him back to my dad's girlfriend at the end of the week. And also, most importantly for me personally, if you'll be willing enough to check out my Patreon, I'm making a Pokemon game based on Israel, and I really like the support. I really appreciate the support. More than one person, which may or may not be on this panel right now.
Yeah, guys, definitely check it out. It is, it's a great idea. Definitely support it.
Thank you.
What about you, Sol?
So you can find me at SoulGovin on Twitter and at soul.k.govin on Instagram. And then here, I try every Sunday. So for our nice little top 5 discussions.
Right on. Ben.
Okay, here we go. You can find me right here at Mid here. You can find me every Tuesday on Shooting the Breeze with Matt here. Every Friday on my own show, Men's Hot Take. Every Saturday on Recapping the Past. And Mount Showdown on a different channel. And every Sunday right here with these 5 people. I get this ready.
Right, and Ben listed everything on that I'm with him on, which is all on here. And you can also find me over at my other channel, Schmoes of the North, where I'm on 2 shows, Schmodown 90 Canada, where we break down the week in Schmodown, and also Northern Consultations, where we sit down and interview people from around the Schmodown sphere, either behind the scenes or behind the camera or in front of the camera. And this week we just dropped one of our best episodes. We interviewed none other than the Insnider Jeff Snyder, and the best
nice.
part about that is he walked us through round 4 of his team title match. So if you've seen the spectacular, we got the exclusive, and it's pretty good to go through his mind and to hear him talk about what was going on. I definitely recommend watching the interview.
It was a devastating round for him. No doubt about that.
Yeah, spoilers for spectacular, but yeah, no, definitely he walks us through it, why he thinks the way he thinks, and all that jazz. Definitely great interview. And then also we've got something coming down the pike. Hopefully we could get it out before the awards for Schmodown. I'm not going to announce too much, but I will say 50 is actually helping me with something pretty cool on it. Yeah, so definitely check that out. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, soda_the_saxman.
And also to vote as well.
Yes. Yeah, because my show is on the nomination list, so is Ben's show. A lot of great shows are on the list, a lot of great people. It's definitely go and show your support for that.
I will definitely say Ultimate Schmodown Show 2 And you can vote for up to 5. So vote for that one, and vote for Ben's, and vote for Schmoes of the North. So just go in there just for the chance of being able to be
100%. Really, I don't expect to win. I just would like to be nominated.
Me too.
Yeah,
Not to be nominated.
because that was actually our goal at Schmoes from the very beginning, is to be nominated for the award, not necessarily win, just to be nominated. And it's that close.
To
But
get the
anyways,
attention of the show.
yes. And so with that, thank you very much for watching us. Don't forget to click like and subscribe on this show and every other show on our channel. And we will see you next week with another edition of Get Sweaty. So long, folks.
Smash cancer.
Smash cancer and stay sweaty.
Cancer.
Answer.
I think I need like a post-it note so I can remember that.